When I remember games from my childhood, one always stands out in my memory. A game I played 17 years ago. Cars. I have only the most positive emotions about this game, and I don't remember not a single negative experience from there. Having recently rewatched the movie, which turned out to be still one of my favorite cartoons ever, I decided to replay the game too. Figure out if I remember only good things, because we people in general remember things from the past with warmth and nostalgia, or because the game is really worth my and your attention even now, so many years later. Dear viewers, my name is Miresan, and today I will try to answer this question. In 2006, Pixar's seventh creation was released on the silver screen, a movie about talking cars. Cars. It won hearts of many people, including myself. The world of this film fascinated my soul at the time. Watching it again and again, I always wanted to be there. Drive through the Klaxon Valley, see the stunning views near the Wheel Motel, visit Radiator Springs. Those 2 hours that are in the film were so little, but they touched my soul so much. My head was captured and completely fascinated by this world. I don't think I should exaggerate how happy I was when I found out that there is a game based on the movie, with a great open world. It all starts with the familiar friend who talks about the beginning of a certain Radiator Springs Grand Prix, and we thrust it right into the action. The game doesn't exactly tell you how to control McQueen, but it's not that difficult to figure out. The colors and animations are very nice, and the mood of the movie was conveyed quite well. Everything looks pretty nice, just the right things for the time. But it's worth mentioning that in my most recent playthrough I saw quite a lot of visual glitches and bugs. But this is due to the fact that the game did not expect you to play on Windows 10. I don't remember not a single glitch from my childhood memories. This is fresh gameplay exclusive. Returning to the gameplay, the controls in the game are very intuitive and clear. It was my first racing game and I figured out everything nice and clear. Except for about 20 minutes I couldn't figure out that to drive you need to press space. Why don't you go? Why don't you go? Why don't you go? Depending on what resolution you play at, you may have some problems with the camera. The game was designed for more square monitors, where McQueen was in the center, and at the more modern resolution the camera is slightly in uncomfortable places, but that's a minor thing. Regarding phasing and movement, they may look a little slow, but for me they're more than good. You get used to it as the game progresses. You can enter a turn not only by drifting, using the handbrake, or simply braking, and you can stand on 2 wheels. What in the living Oh, right. One of the funniest things you can do in the game is jump. It adds a lot of fun while racing or just wandering around Radiator Springs. If you time your jump correctly, you can go far in the air. Thanks for such diversity, you never feel constrained. You can apply your moveset on tracks. The developers are gradually increasing the difficulty of the tracks, from the open ones with simple turns to mostly still open but with some sharp turns and detours, which you can't climb without a little experience. For example, here you need to jump. This is of course not Forza Horizon, but the game is not trying to be a racing simulator. Sadly, you can't do the main mantra of the movie, go right to go left, but what did you expect? Also, the game engine is a bit unfriendly with collisions, but sometimes it can get a little silly, which is more of a plus for me. By the way, if McQueen looks a little different in some places, do not worry, you can just change his skin. Let's return to the plot, shall we? Grand Prix Radiator Springs turns out to be McQueen's dream. This is kind of his own conscience seems to hint him that it's time to start training because the new racing season is approaching. The events of the game take place after the film, so therefore Lightning is still without the Piston Cup. After talking with Sally and Mac, he decides it's time to take care of himself. And this is the base for the whole plot of the game. Lightning goes from one car to another and participates with them in various competitions, or simply helps them.
Hey, Lightning Man!
The game is divided into 5 chapters. In each of them you need to earn trophies, and at the end, if you have accumulated enough, you're sent to the Piston Cup races, which are transitions between chapters. The whole map is divided in 3 parts, 2 of which are initially closed, but they open as you progress through the game. I remember when being a kid I was stuck on the first part of the map. I completed every race, every minigame, every little thing possible, every circle was open. I didn't know what to do. Usually maps telling you what to do, but it did not now. I didn't know what to do. And then by complete accident I stumbled upon that place that serves as a transition between locations. And when that magical window popped on, I was so happy. Good memories. Everything you do in the game progresses you through the story. There are no filler quests or story quests. Everything you do is part of the game experience. Try out some
Some
Filbert.
special brew, my friend.
Lightning is addicted to Filber's drinks.
Whoa, Fillmore, what's in there?
That will give you boost, another mechanic of the game by the way. Take drift lessons with Doc, scare the shit out of the tractors with Mater, and so on. I won't list everything because I want you to play it for yourself, but you can spend some kind of time with pretty much anyone. Except Red, there is no Red. But for the fans of the fire truck, he is in the PSP version of this game. Yeah, this game came out on PSP and it was completely different, and if you want a review, leave a comment. You feel like you're a part of this world, and I like that both then and now. There is always some kind of cutscene before the quest. They're all basically little gags and they're very cute.
He's the ugly green car with the mustache, right?
Hey! Who you calling ugly? Spit cup? And the cars are lining up in the...
A very nice detail is that they brought back the entire cast from the movie. In Russian voice cast, one and 2 voices were different, but still cool. I don't think that many other games based on films can show you the same level of passion when nowadays most games don't even look like movies, bruh. As wise men said, there are no accidents. And this game seems so good not without a reason. It has a lot of work, effort and soul in it. This game was developed by Rainbow Studios under THQ. They work side by side with Pixar to make this game as good as possible. During my research for this video, I found an interview with lead game designer Jordan Itkovich and a small video where the whole team talked about the creation of the game. And after absorbing all the info, I understood why the game is the way it is. Pixar not only helped, they were happy to help Rainbow Studios develop the game. They provided all the materials for the reference, including 3D models, supervised the voice acting, staging scenes, creating characters, and devs loved that game.
Come out of the movie, you had a great experience, you got your 2 hours, you can't wait to go see it again, but you wonder what else is in that world.
You can go and drive out there and check out Radiator Springs and everything around it.
It's rare to see this kind of open environment that we can kind of get around and play around with for a kids game. And we wanted to give the kids the freedom to really kind of have fun and explore.
You get to go out and chase down speeders as Sheriff and rescue abandoned tires as Luigi. He loves his tires. Go tractor tipping with McQueen and Mater. And then we've also got some games that take place on the freeway, the interstate, later on in the game where you get to play a big open world to explore new areas that you didn't see in the movie. We've also got 14 cars in the game that were not in the movie. Some of them came out of ideas that Pixar had but wasn't able to get into the film.
Count Spatula is the big monster truck with the horns on it. I get to do the voice of him. He growls like this.
Get over here! I will flatten you like a pancake.
So much of the movie is about just enjoying your time in that town. And for me, in playing the game, it was like a real opportunity to just spend time in that world.
We wanted to deliver something that both racing fans and adventurers can enjoy the same game. Anybody can sit down, grab a controller, play it, and they can have a great time with it.
We deliver a fun, simple arcade racing experience that's accessible to gamers. I think kids of all ages and families are just going to love this game.
Besides the devs, the game had people like Joe Rand, the car core writer and director of the cars, Steve Purcell, storyboard artist for the film, and John Lasseter, a freaking director of the movie. Many concepts in the game, like the Rusty Hood Cup, where Mater races with his rusty buddies, came from them. They had a lot of ideas that they couldn't put into the movie, but they found place in the game. That freeway mission they talked about is one of the most amazing missions in the entire game. It enters unexpectedly and it's unique as hell. You just have to play in this. And the game has its fair square of those surprises, and it's always lovely to find another one of them. Makes a nice atmosphere. Speaking of the atmosphere, the soundtrack. For each type of activity you have a specific track. For example, while riding in open world, depending on the location, and during Grand Prix it's different. During the tractor tipping it's also different, yeah, and so on. Trust me, music just slaps in that game. God damn. So we go to the story, having a great time with all the characters, collecting trophies, and moving forward to the Piston Cup races. They might be not the most interesting ones, but there are so few of them that they always feel like a big deal. And they're also the most difficult. You might be overtaken at the very end and you will sit there biting your elbows because everything was easy and Chico just turned on the Nitrox 3.5 accelerator and took you over. What the hell? But besides that, the complexity of the game is non-existent. The game is so simple that on the third lap you're almost breathing into the bumper of your opponents. I even drive backwards from time to time to amuse myself. Yes, it's another fun game mechanic.
Then once you're going a bit and you want to head left, all you're gonna need to do is turn right. Got it?
Ah, I think so. Right to go left. Now, where have I heard that before?
But, as I learned from the interview, which I read after 40 hours in the game, there is a way how to make the game harder. The devs were counting on the audience from 6 to 12 years old, therefore they gave the game a gentle difficulty. But for those who want to test themselves, they made a secret difficulty, and for that to activate you need to make another profile. Enter champion in the place for the name, without A, and voila, your game now become much more difficult. When I saw Mater catching up to me on the second lap, I was scared. And it was beautiful! Game is still possible to beat, it's not some super hard mode, but it makes things much more interesting. And for each mistake you make, the game punish you. They start to overtake you, and that's awesome. I highly recommend playing on this difficulty, it's much more fun this way. Anyway, you probably noticed that I get points for drifting, jumping and other tricks. But that's no trophies, that's different. Points can be used to unlock new characters, skins, concept arts and all sorts of deleted scenes and videos. I always liked opening some art and just take in the beauty of it. Again, I was fascinated by the world of cars. I liked one such landscape so much that I drew it. Yes, I know, I was an exceptional artist. By the way, the game has another type of collectibles. At the very start of the game, McQueen accidentally caused a little hurricane that caused Lizzie's postcards to fly away all over the map.
It's a blizzard!
Don't worry, Lizzie, I'll find them. They can't have gone too far.
Are you sure about that?
I never felt anything dreadly in trying to catch them all. If you just explore the map and drive the road, you will find all 20 postcards without any troubles. It is a very fun task. But if you're a lazy guy, then here they are. Getting back to unlocking cars. You can't use them in the open world. Just know, this is probably my greatest gripe with this game. You can unlock so many characters, so many liveries, and you can't even use them! But you can use them in the casual races. You can pick whoever you want and use as you please in the main menu. All the cars feel different and switching from one to another is always a pleasure. But some of them have problems. If you can play the re-release of the game on Xbox, do it. There are no glitches and textures are so much better. But still, there is more than enough attention to detail in this game. For example, each character has his own lines and the environment also adapts to you. For example, when you take different characters into piston cup racing, the commentators will say different things.
Number 43 making steady progress. This crowd sure is happy to see Weathers on the track.
And if you play the commentator himself, Daryl Cartrip, then the commentator will change. This is the only time when the voice of the commentator is different.
When you've watched all those races like Daryl has, it's gotta help you out once you're back on the track. Daryl Cartrip is out of the booth on the track and having a good old time.
This is such a small detail, but they still added it. Only few will really notice this, but this is nice. I am one of the few! I noticed it! By the way, the game has split screen mode. I played one hand on the keyboard and the other with controller. That was quite an experience. I don't have friends to play with cars with me. Anyway, moving forward. Okay, now I want to show you my favorite moment in the game. After a certain point in the plot, we're back in Radiator Springs, but the town looks a bit different. It's night. They recreated the feel of the night city so well. You can feel like you're being right there. The neon lights, night sky, slightly changed softer music. This is what amazed me back then and what amazed me now. This was one of the most memorable scenes in the movie, and in the game it was no less pleasing to see the city at night. It gives me a very warm feelings. This is simply the best game for Cars fans. Playing it, I forget everything bad and plunge into the state of joy and serenity. I remember how I watched the film for the first time on a pirated disc on my compact DVD player, how I played this game for days on end, enjoying the views of the Carburetor District. Discs from those times are still preserved to this day. They are my real treasures. Approaching to the end, I would like to add that the plot here is not very deep, but it's very cute and does not try to be anything more. You immerse yourself in this world and have a pleasant time. Movie has an interesting phrase that I want to paste in here.
Cars didn't drive on it to make great time. They drove on it to have a great time.
I don't think this game will be very interesting to non-Cars fans, but if you love this universe, if you really like the first film, then I highly recommend playing it. It will pleasantly surprise you. The game is on Steam and even after over 17 years I still enjoyed this game. Very often while playing games from the past I was disappointed, but not this time. This is a really good game which, in my opinion, has stood the test of time. Indeed, one of the best games based on films. And it has a sequel! THQ released 2 sequels to this game. Rainbow Studios worked on part 2 and Incinerator Studios worked on part 3. Which I have never played before. Write in comments if you want a review. There are also games for Cars 2 and 3. I hope you enjoyed this video, thank you very much for watching and I see you my viewers! Bye!